Hello, cheers, and welcome to Tipsy Book Talks. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Raeanne.
And welcome to our March wrap-up.
So me and Taylor actually switched positions for this month, where instead of reading 6 books, I went ahead and read 9, and Taylor read 6 books this month. So Taylor was way better than I was, though, so she read all of the books on her TBR. I did not, so with that, I'm gonna go ahead and take a shot of Malibu because, changing up the shot ratio. So, cheers, everybody.
So unfortunately, I did not get to read as many books as I did last month. If you have not seen our March wrap-up, I read 9 in the month of March. So this month I was able to get down 7, which is honestly still really good considering it was a very busy month for me. But I was able to complete everything on my TBR, which is why I'm drinking wine instead of doing shots. So, cheers! I'm feeling very happy about it.
Yeah, I understand why this is the shot of white girls, because that was sweet and smooth, and straight up it tasted like coconut lotion. Very weird, very strange experience. So yeah, let's go ahead and get right into this.
Okay, so we read 1 book together instead of 2. Normally we do a classic and a modern, but this time we only did a modern. I don't know why, it just might have slipped through the cracks, but we read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn and Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Wow. We rated this one 5 stars. We have a full book talk on it. Both me and Raeanne rated it 5 stars, by the way. Loved it. Freaking amazing. We talked about so much of, our thoughts and personal feelings and love for this book, and basically just gushed about it for a whole entire very long video. So if you would like to check that out, we will link it down below as well as up here. But yeah, we are not going to talk much about this one because, again, we did a full book talk, and once you get me started, I don't know if I can stop. But yeah, we'll put it down below.
So for my TBR, I went ahead and finished 2 of the 3 books. And to start, the first book I finished was From Blood and Ash. We actually have a video coming up for From Blood and Ash, so I won't really get into it much, but I will say that I am, I feel like a lot of people's demise, I'm going to go ahead and give this a 3, and I'm going to go ahead and get into it in that video, but this story sadly wasn't for me, but I am determined. I want to finish the series because I kept it at a 3 because of the plot, but when it got to the ending, I actually was very hooked. So I want to see what happens and where the story goes itself. But overall, it's kind of rough for me, and realistically, I really can't wait for you guys to see the video because I have a lot of things to say on this. So yeah. The second book on my TBR that I finished, and I am so happy I read this, is Red, White, and Royal Blue. I absolutely loved this book. I thought it was so cute, so adorable. I loved the, for lack of a better word, the quirky, cute, romantic relationship that strikes up in this novel. It was so much spicier than I thought it was going to be, and I overall gave it 5 stars. I might have on Goodreads gave it 4 stars because I did get a little bored parts of the way through, but overall, final say, I'm gonna give it 5 stars. I really liked this book. I thought it was absolutely amazing. The 2 main characters in this book, Henry and Alex, I think they're both such unique characters, and it gives such a realistic kind of depiction of coming to terms with your sexuality and being okay with it and being out, and it's just, I love it. I love it so much. It's such a cute book, and it is surprisingly so much spicier than you would ever think.
So the next book that I read this month was Love Warrior by Glennon Doyle, and I have been wanting to read Untamed for a while, but for some reason I just really wanted to read this one first. I didn't have much information about who Glennon Doyle was or what her life story was, so I went in super blind. So I read Love Warrior and I was like, okay, Like, this is super interesting. It's not quite a self-help book. It's like more of like a biography, but there is a lot of self-help aspects because she basically talks a lot about like her mental health issues, her struggles in life, struggling with eating disorders, struggling with her marriage. So she kind of explores all of that, and then she also talks a lot about how she was trying to get out and move forward and create the life that she wanted. And then I read Untamed, which it was like basically she finally got the life that she wanted, and she was exploring how she got there. So I always recommend reading both, mainly because like the first one, Love Warrior, is very different, and it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but you get so much history about her. You get, basically, she's still inside of the mess at this point. So she is talking about trying new things, and when you are going through your own struggles as well, it's kind of nice to know that people didn't just find a magic cure. So she talks about, you know, turning to religion, turning to yoga, turning to meditation, all these things that she explores that helped her in certain different ways, which I found super interesting. So I gave both of them 4 stars. Really loved them. Don't want to spoil much else, but like I highly recommend checking them out. I just felt so like inspired and happy. So yeah, 4 stars.
All right, so some audiobooks that I actually listened to this month. The first one is Untamed by Glennon Doyle. I loved how she depicted the, like, her life of just coming to her sexuality and dealing with her kids and dealing with her family. I don't have kids, I don't have a family. I mean, as you might be able to hear, I have cats and they jingle throughout multiple of our videos, but those are technically my cats. Or, those are technically my cats. Oh my god. Those are technically my kids. So I can like very vaguely relate to this, but overall I can definitely relate to the whole coming to terms with sexuality as Glennon Doyle had. It's very interesting to listen how she talks about like raising kids and specifically raising her like boys versus her girls, and how girls need to just kind of step out and not always be so like held within our little boxes that society kind of put us in. So I loved it. I thought it was such an amazing take on life, and that is a self-help book that I will recommend till the end of time probably. I loved it. Also, the cover is beautiful. I want to own that for my bookshelf and just put it like on its little own display. It's so pretty. I love it. The next book that I listened to is definitely a reread for me, and that would be The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket, which is the first book within the series of Unfortunate Events. I don't know if I've actually said this on YouTube at all, but when I would read a series of unfortunate events, it was normally while traveling. So I went ahead and listened to this while driving back home from visiting Taylor, and it was so interesting. One, I think Neil Patrick Harris also does the voice of Olaf on the audiobook, so that was really fun and entertaining. But the thing is I love this series so much. This is not my favorite of the series, so I went ahead and gave it 3 stars. Still an amazing book, definitely a great introduction to all of the characters. That's kind of how I look at it, is like it's the pilot episode that they were just like, oh, we gotta introduce everybody and we don't really know how, so that's the only downside. But I love this book. I listened to it within, I think, an hour, so that allowed me to also squeeze in another read, which I'm going to talk about right now. But yes, I love a series of unfortunate events. Just started listening to it for fun, so yeah.
A book that I had been waiting for the past few months, I was finally able to get, which was A Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This was my most anticipated read for the month of April. I marked my calendar. I read From Blood and Ash, I think in January or February, and then read A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire directly after. So this is the 3rd book in the From Blood and Ash series, and the second I finished A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, I looked up when this book was coming out, and I marked it on my calendar, and your girl was ready for it. I was so stoked. So I finished this one very quickly. I think it took me like 3 days. It took me a while to get my actual physical copy, which it came like a week after release date, which made me very upset because like I had to buy another version of it. And then also I had to send it back because there was a page ripped out and cut into pieces. So, yeah, it was a rough time. But I ended up giving this book 5 stars. I wouldn't say it is as good as the first 2, but I really freaking loved it. And I can tell how great the next few books are going to be just by the setup in this book. So I did kind of feel like this was more of like a bridge book, whereas it was getting me very, very excited about what is to come. But there were some things lacking in this one. Obviously not enough to where I didn't give it less than 5 stars because I still freaking loved it. But yeah, just not quite as good as the first 2. I give out 5 stars very easily, guys. They wrote a damn book. And it was actually like really funny too because I got the order from Amazon and saw that it had a page ripped out and I was just like, what is happening? So I sent a compilation of Snapchats of me finding it, basically to Brooke, Jada, and Raeanne, and I thought they were kind of funny, so I decided last minute to turn them into a TikTok, and right now that's our most famous TikTok. I don't know why. I guess you just like don't have to try it on TikTok. But yeah, 5 stars. Loved it. It's a really great series. I cannot gush enough about it. If I keep talking, I'll talk a lot. But we are also reading From Blood and Ash Together. I'm going to be rereading it, so you have that to look forward to.
And the third audiobook I listened to this month is Mistress of Evil by Serena Valentino. This is the audiobook that I really was not a fan of, and I really was wanting to be. I went ahead and gave it 2 stars. It is a take on Maleficent and her thoughts when, like, kind of going through the motion of the movie, like, of Sleeping Beauty, of, like, what happens, why she is who she is, and it kind of resembles the actual movies with Angelina Jolie, of how Maleficent kind of came to be. It does do a little spin-off, like, difference, but overall, you know, it was a very interesting take. There were parts that I was like, wow, no, I'm getting so lost in this, and I'm kind of bored, so that's the only downside. But overall, I did enjoy it. It was a nice audiobook. Probably wouldn't read it if I'm being completely honest.
Another book that I was able to get to was A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. So I am very happy that I got to this book. This has been on my TBR for a while, and I think I put it on, like, my actual, like, TBR in, I think, February or March. I'm not quite sure. But either way, it's late. I wasn't able to get to it before, so this time I really wanted to challenge myself and get to it, and I did, and I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. It basically follows a witch. If you cannot see a pattern in which I really love to read witch books, I do. So it is A Discovery of Witches, and basically it follows a witch named Diana. Almost forgot her name for a second. It follows a witch named Diana who basically has, up to this point, tried to hide from her own powers. Magic, it scares her and she's uncomfortable by it and she's had bad experiences with it. So it kind of comes back to bite her in the ass, and that's what this book follows. So it was really good. I gave it 4 stars. Definitely enjoyed it.
2 that I read that I actually did a vlog on were We Were Liars by E. Lockhart and Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. I went ahead and praised those books within my April vlog, so please go check that out. You can see the scores that I gave there because realistically that's been out for a while and I read those books a little while ago, so I can't even remember. Oops.
So the next book that I read was recommended to me by my girls Brooke and Jada from Booked and Boozy, and it was Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Menescallo. I did a full reading vlog on this one, and I did a TikTok where I made the sangria, talked about it in it, but I really liked this book. So I feel like this is everything that I would have wanted, like, as a teenager, but, like, aged up. So really, it's everything that I wanted. I don't know how to explain it any other way. I just know teenage me would be, like, dying if I read this book. So if you do not know what this book is about, it follows a witch named Amelia, and basically, like, hell descends into her life. And that's all I'm gonna say, because if I go any further, it spoils the shit out of it. Do not read this. That also spoils it. I'm telling you right now, go in blind. It's the way to do it. But yeah, I really, really loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. And I will link my vlog down below because honestly, I like to talk about it. I'm now thinking about it right now, and I've had like only 4 and 5 star reviews for this month. So I think that's a really great month for me. I mean, I give out good reviews most of the time because if I enjoyed it, like, I am never hard on it. I'm not someone who really likes to critique literature, so I'm sorry if you follow me for that. I'm not very good at it. If I like a book, I like it. I don't know what to tell you.
So for the final book that I read, that is A Touch of Darkness by Scarlet St. Clair. A Touch of Darkness by Scarlet St. Clair, I won't say a lot on because we have a new video coming out within the next few weeks. So Taylor and I actually did a full book talk on that, and it was very entertaining, very fun. I mean, to film, it was a great time. I did have quite a bit to say. I do think I went ahead and gave it either like 3.5 stars or 4 stars. Again, that was a little while ago, so can't quite remember, but I definitely enjoyed the read. I loved seeing the Hades and Persephone perspective. Lisp is coming out so hard right now. But I loved seeing the two gods' perspective on how their relationship formed. It is in modern time. It was, oh my gosh, such a good read. You should definitely read it if you have not, to prepare for our video coming out.
And the final book that I was able to get to, which honestly I was a little afraid that I wasn't going to make it to, so happy I don't have to take a shot, but it is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. Honestly, I loved this book so much. I gave it 5 stars. There was just something about it that I was like, if I had read this in high school, this would be my absolute favorite book series. It was amazing. It still has a chance to like really be one of my favorites because I loved it that much. But I thought it was such an interesting concept. It kind of had like aspects of dystopian, it had aspects of fantasy. It was all just like, it took a lot of different styles of writing and a lot of different tropes and kind of brought them all together in the most seamless way. I thought it was so well done. I loved it so much. If you do not know what this is about, it follows a girl named Laia who is a scholar, and these scholars were like basically this big, like these big leaders of the empire, but they were overthrown and now they are kind of, I just read this too and my brain is like, bleh. My brain is falling out like that. Let me give somewhat of a better explanation. So it follows Laia, who is basically a scholar inside of the Empire, and scholars used to be high leaders inside the Empire, but they were pretty much overthrown. And I don't want to tell you any more than that about why, because you find that out later in the book, and that's like a major spoiler. So she is basically like, all of her people are living on thin ice when it comes to being inside the Empire. Any moment they could be raided, they could be sold into slavery. Yeah, no matter what they do, they can just basically be taken over. So it starts with her, and then there's also, it is in Elias's point of view, and Elias goes to a school that basically is training him to be a mask, which is like the highest level in their army, where they can basically go in and do all the raids and take over different people and stuff. I don't want to, I'm doing a very bad job at explaining this, so I'm so sorry, but yeah. I gave this book 5 stars. I loved it so much. Yeah, I had a really good time reading it. I highly recommend this. I'm starting the next book right away. That is actually going to be on my May TBR, and I'm very pumped to read it. Well, that's it for us today, so thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe if you have not already. And also, you should definitely check out our May TBR. It went up a couple days ago, and we played Loteria. And it was such a fun time. Me and Raeanne somehow put 9 books on our TBR and then made it a challenge to where if we both, or if one of us finishes and the other person doesn't, one of us has to buy each other a book. So the challenge is on. We are very excited about it. But honestly, it was just a really fun game for us to do, and we came up with such an interesting TBR. So I don't know. It was really fun. You guys should go check it out and see how we do because I'm a little afraid.
Also, make sure to check out our Instagram and TikTok at tipsy_book_TALKS for Instagram and TOKS for TikTok. We've been so active on TikTok for sure. We keep posting all of these really fun videos that Taylor and I film in between all of these videos. So make sure to go check that out. And we are constantly posting updates on our Instagram. So make sure to be following to stay up to date with what we're doing. And again, I don't have any shots to take, and I'm not taking another shot for you guys. So I'm gonna cheers you with water. But cheers, everyone.
Cheers!